In the society that you are acclimated in, there's a culture in the way that things are done. And that culture has a way of branding people because you look this way, you are a witch. Because this, they now give answers, because this culture now gives answers to the questions that many people have. Why did her husband die? Then they acclimated to a negative thing because of the acclimated culture and so on and so forth. So that's why even I say there's a negative aspect when you uphold culture too high and you dehumanize the individual. When you uphold culture too high and you dehumanize an individual, you lack the ability to actually see someone as a human being. Because you only see people and their actions through the lens of your own culture. And hence your judgment and your prejudice is from culture itself. That's what many us Africans need to have that real conversation, as we need to start seeing people as individuals before you start now seeing them through the lens of what your culture says, of what even your belief says. That will help you even grow and see that as an individual, as even help you get a broader scope of understanding, not a limited scope of culture. And that is what leads to what Maria was saying, primitive actions, and hence you end up acting foolish because culture has ingrained within your head that because Maria or this lady, unfortunately, her husband has passed away, something must be wrong with her. Or something, because my culture says that indeed, when this happens, we must now come as a community and take this land. She is not this is now our community aspect of it all, because our culture says that we must, of course, come together and protect this land and help her manage it, under the whole premise of we're helping her manage the whole thing because there's no man in her life. Because our culture says that the man must preside over certain property. That's now where culture now blinds you from actually seeing someone as an individual. That's why you also have to make sure that indeed, please make sure that you remember that even as we add, that's the big friction a lot of times between older people and the even younger generations, is that older people want to uphold some culture aspects and they don't realize how that aspect is actually blinding them from understanding the younger generation. So that's even a big friction that's happening even in Africa, as even older people are becoming older and older. And there's that disdain that even younger generations have. From Nigeria to South Africa, as even you hear this constant conversation of the push and pull between generations, because older people hold certain standards, be it even be religion, be it even be the way of doing things, be it even be protocol. But as we just mentioned in the previous story, that hold that in such high regard, they don't see the younger generation as humans. They see them as deviants. They see them as rebellious. They see them as, why are you not fitting within the cocoon in which we have laid down the foundation for? So that's where I see sometimes leads to actions like these. What do you say, CEO?
I was just thinking, do you understand what is culture?
Yes, a way of life. I knew you trigger you.
Then I sat down and I'm thinking,
yes.
they are waxing lyrical and you're not having a standpoint from where we are in this topic. You see, culture, let me educate you.
It's a way of life, though.
No, let me educate you
Okay,
now.
go ahead. Go ahead, I'm listening.
It is wrong to equate people being killed with culture.
Continue.
Totally.
Why?
Because the culture you are talking about is a way of life, popular way, majority way of life, which defines a community.
Yes.
When it does not define that community, it is not culture. In 12th century, the Shakespearean age, in UK, the witch hunting was the biggest thing, and women were killed for being witches. I just want to educate you, it's not an African thing. It is an economic thing.
Yes.
It was not there before. It is here now. It is not cultural. Let's get our perspectives right.
Can different things be adopted into a culture, though? You're saying that different things cannot be adopted into a culture, so a culture never evolves? Is that what
It
you're
does
saying?
evolve.
It
It
evolves.
does evolve.
So that means
But
new
that's
things
why
can actually
laws
be
are
added
passed.
into.
That's why, Simon, that's why this thing has been in certain areas only. And it has been in certain areas where there is land pressure. In Kisii, there is land pressure.
Why?
Because of the plots are smaller and the population is higher. I want us to put these things into perspective for audiences out there to understand why these issues are there.
Yes.
We do not generalize everything because it fits the narrative which it's always there out there. This issue in Kisii has been there because Anne Maria is a girl from Kisii, although born in Nairobi. The plots in Kisii are very small.
Very.
They're very small. The population density is extremely high. So you want to get space to start a family and build a home, but you have no land. So people have devised a way of killing older people to inherit their land. It's not culture. It's just economic pressure and lack of land. Let's go to Mombasa, the Kilifi area. In Kilifi, there's a lot of people who want to settle in Kilifi right now. It's a hot cake. And there are many older people who have this, still are holding on to this land. And the younger generation feel that if they sell that land, they will make money and they'll start off in a better footing. That's what is happening in these counties. Otherwise, if it is a cultural thing, the way you are stating it, 90%, and the figures, it's 8 out of every month, 8 people. Kenya is a country of 50 million people. 30% are older people. In Luo Nyanza, we would have had those deaths. We are not getting them there. It's 1 or 2. Because the communities have a way of defining how to relate with the old people. And by the way, it is only that these people who are either widowed in those areas where there's land pressure or where there's economic value for that land, where people are trying to snatch that land, it has nothing to do with their cultural background.
See that widowed issue? Here's the reason why. Culture comes into play because you don't see the woman as someone who can actually own land. And you view now the man, because the man is gone, this woman has no authority as the man did, because your culture says that the man is actually the one who should actually now stand and actually gives that land itself like security with that family. So now this woman is not viewed because of the culture. This woman is not viewed as someone immediately when it's widowed. This is now access, because indeed the person who actually owns, imagine they don't even say she owns it. They say because the husband has died and that land is free, because they don't see her as a person who can own land. They only see her as the man. So that's how you see now that cultural aspect comes into play.
It's not but you know what?
Let me. It's cultural aspect. The perception of viewing, you viewing it through the lens. I'm saying the people who view things through the lens of culture. I'm not saying culture in itself innately is bad. I'm saying people who judge people innately through the lens of culture. Before even I talk to CEO, because of the way he looks, although he carries himself, I've already seen him through the lens of culture, and I've already judged him, and hence the actions I will take will come from that prejudice.